The Roblox community is in a total state of chaos right now because of what went down on January 28th. If you've been living under a rock, it all started on the 27th when Roblox announced probably the most garbage update in the history of the site. They're basically getting rid of every classic face and forcing everyone to use those freaky dynamic ones instead. And people absolutely hated it. The blowback was so fast and so huge that Twitter basically turned into a 24-hour David Baszucki horror show. It got to a point where the entire replies were just cursed ritual edits, witch hexes, and weird memes. Literally all of Twitter is just people hating on David Baszucki right now. You can't even scroll through your feed without seeing his face everywhere because this whole thing has just gotten way too big. It's actually insane that people are this mad, so we have a ton to cover today. But before we begin, please like the video, and definitely subscribe if you haven't yet. I'm trying to hit 50k subs. Also, make sure you comment what you think about all this, because Roblox has not seen people go this crazy before. So, let's go back to where this all started. On January 27th, Roblox put out a boring post about avatar heads, but hidden inside was the part that actually mattered. They basically said every classic head and face is being replaced with those new dynamic versions. It doesn't even matter if you already bought the original 2D face, it's getting swapped out anyway. On top of that, they're deleting the classic head and face sections from the shop entirely. If the people who made your favorite faces don't update them, Roblox is either going to change them automatically or just delete them from your inventory. This update means the faces you've used for years are just being deleted. And here's the part that has everyone freaked out. What happens to the expensive stuff? If you have a classic face that's a limited and worth a ton of money like the super happy face, or the yum face, they are worth like thousands of dollars, so does Roblox just force it to change? Does it become worthless? Can you even trade it? Roblox didn't say anything, which is why everyone started freaking out, and because no one knows what's going on, people are panicking and selling their expensive faces as fast as they can. Since everyone is trying to get rid of them at the same time, the prices are just crashing. People are literally watching their most valuable items become worth way less in a matter of hours. Like for example the playful vampire face, just a few weeks ago it was about 150k Robux, and now it's literally dropping down to 84k, same with all the other limited faces. Because nobody knew what was actually happening, everyone started freaking out. People began panic selling their expensive faces right away because they were scared Roblox was going to replace them with some ugly version and ruin the value overnight. And yeah, they are right, Roblox is replacing them with versions that look nothing like the original. Some of the biggest Roblox YouTubers started calling them out too. Creekcraft even made a video saying he's honestly thinking about quitting Roblox if they keep making stupid updates like this that change everything for no reason. It's not just players complaining either, even the big YouTubers and the people making items for the game are calling Roblox out. This update is basically going to bankrupt some people who've worked hard on their items. Even Linkmon jumped in and told Roblox they can't just ruin classic faces, which are basically the most iconic part of the whole game. They've been there for literally almost 20 years. They can't just remove them without an explanation. He basically said that if everyone hates it, and even the people making you money are mad, then literally what are you doing? The biggest problem is what this does to limited faces. People aren't just buying these to look cool, they're dropping thousands of dollars on them because they're rare and have a whole history behind them. When you have an item with a specific serial number that's been around for years, you can't just force it to become a dynamic head. That completely kills the rarity and destroys the value of what people actually paid for. Everyone started calling them out for this, and it got so loud that Roblox finally had to give an answer. Roblox eventually responded on a developer forum, saying they're going to make the new heads look exactly like the old ones. They claim the serial numbers and the history won't change, and you'll still be able to trade them like normal. That might sound fine, but it totally misses the point. The real issue is that they're still forcing this dynamic system on everyone, whether we want it or not. They're just ignoring the fact that people want to keep the classic look. Linkmon suggested the most obvious fix, but Roblox is just ignoring it. All they have to do is add a toggle so you can choose between the classic face or the dynamic head. That literally solves every single problem. It keeps the value where it should be, saves the original art style, and actually lets players choose. Roblox is choosing not to do that though, which makes no sense at all, especially once you hear the lame reasons they're giving for why this change has to happen. Roblox is trying to say that classic faces actually stop users from expressing themselves, so their big idea is to just remove them entirely. It's ridiculous. They claim they want to improve self-expression, but they're doing it by deleting the exact faces people have used to express themselves for 20 years. Like what? The logic just isn't there. It's insane how Roblox thinks they know what we want better than we do. They're trying to argue that the old 2D faces actually limit how we express ourselves, which is a total joke considering those are the faces everyone has used to build their identity for almost 20 years. If they actually cared about us expressing ourselves, they'd listen to Linkmon and just give us a toggle. Let the people who want dynamic heads use them, and let the rest of us keep our classic 2D look. It's the easiest fix in the world, but they're refusing to do it. Instead, they ban creators from making 2D faces entirely and are forcing them to run their hard work through some AI converter that'll probably just break the design. If these artists don't gamble their work with an AI, Roblox is just going to delete it all, even from the inventories of people who already paid for them. They've tried this before back in 2023 and it failed miserably because the heads looked like garbage, but now they're just forcing it down our throats. They're killing off the most popular style on the platform for something nobody asked for, and it's a massive slap in the face to the creators who actually keep this site running. What's even more baffling is that almost everyone, literally 99% of the people, still use the 2D classic faces. It's not like dynamic heads are new, they've been around for years, and players have had plenty of time to switch if they wanted to, but they didn't. Most people went out of their way to stick with the static look. So, Roblox is basically taking the one thing that everyone actually likes and deleting it to make room for something the community has already rejected. It's a total mess, and obviously, people are furious about it. What's insane is that this went way beyond people just being annoyed. The community didn't just push back, they turned David Baszucki's social media into a total psychological horror show. It was flooded with these grotesque AI-distorted images, faces with the eyes ripped out and glitchy filters that look like something out of a cursed creepypasta. But it got even darker than just scary pictures. People actually started trying to curse David and his family, saying he was going to die some horrific death. Look, I'm not standing up for the guy or defending his choices, but that is way over the line. Threatening a man's life and dragging his family into it over a digital Lego face is just unhinged. There's being mad at a bad update, and then there's whatever this is. You're looking at a site for a kid's game, but the comments section looked like some deep web urban legend had leaked onto a corporate social media page. It stopped being about the update and turned into this weird, occult-style harassment. People weren't even typing in English half the time, it was just a mess of glitchy text, weird symbols, and strings of numbers that looked like code. It honestly felt like watching a digital cult. They were spamming David's name like a chant and posting these random February dates and timestamps that made everything feel like a threat or a countdown. It didn't even look like human speech anymore. It looked like corrupted files and ritualistic nonsense meant to freak him out. It's one thing to be loud about a bad decision, but turning the situation into a literal creepypasta is on a whole other level. The visual side of this was even more intense. It wasn't just static images, people were posting these short, glitchy video clips that look like lost footage. They used these jarring sound loops and low-frequency humming that honestly makes your skin crawl. You'd see faces just blinking out of the darkness or visuals that would stutter and distort until they didn't even look human anymore. It's the kind of stuff that can't be shown in a regular video. It's not just that it's edgy or trying too hard, it's genuinely disturbing. It's crazy that if you stare at it for more than a couple of seconds, it actually starts to get under your skin.
There are no faces. There are no faces. There are no faces. There are no faces.
And the fact that this is the response to a Roblox update just freaks me out. The community went full-blown psychological horror with it. The scary thing is that this didn't just stay in Roblox's mentions. It spilled over into the rest of Twitter until you couldn't escape it. Even if you had nothing to do with the game, you'd be scrolling your feed and suddenly get hit with a distorted, nightmare fuel edit of David Baszucki or some cryptic countdown. It turned into a weird competition. It stopped being a joke and became a contest to see who could create the most unsettling content possible. People are genuinely trying to outdo each other with how disturbing they could make their posts. It wasn't just a protest anymore, it was like the community was collectively trying to see how much they could freak everyone out. One detail I kept noticing in that sea of cryptic text was David Baszucki's name tied specifically to the date February 18th. I try not to read too much into internet rumors, but that's the actual release date for this face update. Official sources just point to February 2026 without giving a specific day. The fact that the community has zeroed in on the 18th is a bit ominous. It makes you wonder if there's some coordinated plan or event being cooked up for that day. Since Roblox hasn't confirmed a date, it feels like the players have picked their own deadline to take this protest to the next level. The situation spiraled into something genuinely sickening. We aren't talking about simple complaints anymore. We're talking about posts calling for public and extreme violence that were racking up tens of thousands of likes. I saw videos detailing torture scenarios that hundreds of people were actually cheering for. It's beyond insane. At that point, even the people who despised the update started to get uncomfortable. When you have folks calling for a public hang over a video game avatar, you've lost the plot. Even the big Roblox creators, who usually have a lot to say, were just standing on the sidelines in total shock. They were watching their feeds turn into a non-stop stream of cursed content and threats, joking that they'd never seen a community turn into a horror cult so fast. But the most disturbing part of the whole thing is this wasn't a coordinated raid. There wasn't some group chat or Discord server masterminding the chaos. It was just thousands of random people, all acting on their own, collectively deciding to be as toxic and extreme as possible. It was pure, unscripted internet madness, and it showed just how dark things can get when a community feels backed into a corner. There was one specific post that actually made me sick. Someone used an AI generator to create a hyper-realistic scene that looked like actual depicting David Baszucki literally his own face. I don't even know how to describe how far that crosses the line. This update is garbage, and I get why the community is acting out, but there's a massive gap between a cursed meme and digital. We're talking about people using technology to simulate the of a real person. At that stage, you've stopped being a player who cares about a game and you've turned into someone who's just producing disturbed content for the sake of it. You can hate a corporate decision with everything you have, but once you start generating imagery of a man being killed, you've lost any high ground you had. It's not a protest anymore, it's just a total collapse of human decency. A lot of people didn't just cross the line, they forgot the line even existed.